video games, and I can't stop because it's really for work. So I go, no man, I gotta finish Arkham Origins because I gotta know what happens in order to write. So that was a lot of fun. One of the big challenges with this script was that the Arkham world is really grounded. So if you take a group like the Suicide Squad, you want to make sure that whoever you're putting into it has to fit in the Arkham world. So we had to make sure that all of our characters were really grounded, and we gave a good reason for them to have those powers.
Awesome. Jay and James, there's a distinctive new art direction for this thing. What was your approach? How closely did you stick to the look of the video games?
Well, we worked very closely to the Warner Brothers games. We contacted them and said, well, we have these characters. Can you send us the models? And so from there, we took like Batman's design, for example, did our design for him, and then we designed everybody off of him. And then, of course, it was a back and forth to we sent designs and said, do you like this? And then they would give us a back and forth of whether they liked it or any changes to it.
Yeah, there were certain characters that weren't in the games yet, like King Shark and Killer Frost, and our designer John Suzuki, character designer, took on the challenge of creating character models that would fit into the video game, even though they weren't in there yet. So King Shark was one of those things where we saw the comic book version, and he was basically Jabberjaw. We decided, I don't know if that works with the video game aesthetic, so that's why he is the way you see him in the movie.
Well, I know that Jay has an extremely personal Easter egg in the movie. Tell us about the design for that and any other kind of treats that we might find when we see it again on Blu-ray.
So I love the movie Die Hard, and my dad was actually the guy who was one of the architects that designed the Nakatomi building. So while there's building at the end is actually the Nakatomi building in Century City. So I mean, it was one of my things that was an homage to my dad. He's the one who got me into art, and so I decided to put it in there. And I thought, what great place to put Batman at the end, and Los Angeles and LAX behind, Deadshot at the end.
Awesome. Andrea, obviously you've got some shared talent with the game, but tell us about adding primetime stars like Neil McDonough, who does an amazing job as Deadshot, and Giancarlo Esposito as Black Spider-Man.
They're all such fine actors, and I'm so proud to work with them whenever I can. And they're really embraced by this community. Everybody likes working together, and they have fun. Wasn't Matthew great as the Riddler?
Yeah.
And don't you love to hate CCH Pounder as Waller? She's so wonderfully bad. I hate her so much.
I just see actors all over Hollywood just picking up that red bat phone, and it's a call from you. And it's, of course, I'll be right down, and whatever you want, Andre, I'll be right there. All right, Matthew, we know you love this realm. You've been the voice of Jimmy Olsen. You've done some work in Scooby-Doo. What was it like to finally get this meaty DC role? What was your take on the Riddler?
It was such an absolute honor to be on this stage with these people and with truly the greatest fans in the universe is a dream. My entire life wanted to be a maniacal supervillain, so I can't even express how exciting this is for me.
Were you practicing your maniacal laugh before you wrapped?
I was, no, absolutely.
All right, Kevin, it's been 21 years.
Like only yesterday.
Is it still fresh? Is it still fun? Does it still feel like
Yes! Yeah, it's a lot of fun to do. I love playing the character. But the challenge is to keep it fresh and to keep it, present and urgent. Not let it get stale. But I love doing it. And the fans are the best fans.
You played Aquaman in The Brave and the Bold. Hilarious. Love that character. You guys will have to check that out if you haven't. And now you're King Shark. What's up with you and fish?
I just realized that, I don't know, I guess I'm just a fishy guy. That's really funny that you brought up Jabberjaw. Yeah, I remember Jabberjaw. That would have made for a really strange King Shark, right?
Seeing it in the second time, and King Shark has some of the best stuff in the whole movie. He's hilarious all the way through it.
Yeah, it's pretty silly. It's pretty ridiculous. I don't know. I guess I got the knack for playing really scary, goofy people. I guess.
Okay, all right. Troy, you've had the most gaming experience, I think, on the panel. What are some of the key acting differences when you go in for a game or when you go in for a DC animated movie like this?
Well, I mean, one thing with the game, you've got, sometimes 10, 15, 20 hours to tell a story. And with this, it's pacing. You've got, I think 100 or like an hour and 20 minutes is what we're clocking in at. So it's a pretty short week, but you've got to get through a lot of content. And one thing that's so great, and I've said this to Andrea before, when you sit down in that booth and you're across the glass from her, where you're in a realm where trust is everything. You have to trust your fellow actors, trust your directors, trust your writers, and then you see that that's the person that's literally been the custodian of this franchise for 2 decades.
Yes.
These are characters that are bigger than any actor. They're bigger than any other medium, and you just got to go in and know the character and just have fun with it. And again, you just trust your director. And I like her. She's pretty good. I also have to give a big shout out to all the people that have been helping out the hearing impaired. Your performance was like way better than any of ours.
The movie does not shy away from some pretty violent content and some risque dialogue. This is not Batman the Animated Series, on Saturdays. This is for adults. This movie. Was there anything that was too much?
Apparently not. Well, we were as shocked as anyone when they let us get away with some of this stuff. It was a lot of fun. We thought we were dealing with supervillains and amoral people, so there was really the only way to do it, honestly, was to let them be bad.
Yeah.
So we wanted them real bad.
And you got a lot of shades of badass. That's the thing that really stands out when you watch it again, is that you've got a lot of cool. All of the characters have their own unique cool sort of place in this, and they can all stand alone in their own separate movies. And I guess that was part of the key. That's what you wanted to do with this one, right?
Well, that's what Jay's job is to make sure every character is distinctive. And also the script, so he's the job. But to make sure that they all ring true to themselves as characters, we don't want to conflict with what's in the comics, but we also want them to register with people who aren't familiar with them from the comics. So, and it's more fun when you have an ensemble that they're all individual, very strong types. So we had a lot of fun with this. It was a great ensemble piece, and I think one of the funnier ones that we've done. So.
Yeah, definitely. Harley's hilarious as well. Big standout. And I loved hearing Jennifer Hale as Killer Frost. Awesome choice there.
Kingdom Walsh.
But Kevin, how was it to share so much limelight with all of these
I know.
other characters?
There are so many talented actors in this. It's such a huge cast.
Yes.
So you get, less screen time. But you gotta share it with everybody else.
I think some of you may have watched the entire movie for the first time tonight. I'm just curious to hear an observation from the cast. Seeing this movie kind of come together. What was one of your favorite pieces in the movie? Kevin, I'll start with you.
This was actually the first time I saw the full thing.
Yeah.
I was amazed at how violent it was. Pretty amazing. And it's exciting to see because, especially in the animated series, we had such constraints on what we could do.
Right.
And it's interesting to see these really insane people so dangerous. I mean, it's incredibly dangerous, and it brings it to a whole different level.
Yeah, I would never want to be a guard at Arkham Asylum, ever.
Worst job ever.
Yeah, worst job ever.
Not being a red shirt on Star Trek.
That's right.
You're buying the farm if that happens.
They're just
McCluskey, go down to the planet.
It's a great pension. They have a great pension plan if you survive.
Matthew, what was this like for you watching this?
It was my first time as well. I like watching things with a real audience, and it was so thrilling. I had goosebumps for 60 minutes of it probably. And what struck me was the animation, primarily just the horrifying dead eyes of the Joker, which complemented your incredible performance. It made him truly frightening. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Terrific job by everybody on the cast here. Troy, what was your favorite part when you watched it?
Well, first of all, to be in a room with over 4,000 people watching this thing, this. I'll say the thing that stuck out to me, clearly DC's great about doing not only the animated series, but with their movies as well. This is like the first time that you're actually kind of rooting for the villains. Like you spend the most time with the Suicide Squad, and that's kind of interesting. And Batman just kind of comes in and like just messes up their plans, which is kind of cool. I will have to say that one of the things I was happiest about the most is there was one part that I wasn't sure if it was going to make it. The fact that we kept the Denzel, what have they done to you? It was on the fence for a while. It was like, it made it.
John, how about yourself, man?
I've never played anyone that got their head blown off by explosives. So that was kind of fun.
What's the actor challenge there, John?
Well, come on. But, yes, exactly. They the brightness of the explosive. But, it's just, I enjoy the adult themes in these cartoons because, there's, you can get away with a whole lot when you do that, and the jokes work better and the scenes, I just appreciate that. And who doesn't love cartoon movies?
Love cartoon movies. Work it out.
Which brings me to Andrea. How the hell do you direct these guys?
Wait, how did we segue from cartoon movies to Andrea? I'm sorry, what did you want to say?
Well, how do you work with these guys that you get to know so well? They're friends. You work with them a lot. So is it by osmosis at a certain point, or you have to give them specific notes?
When they're as good as these guys, it's pretty much slating and getting out of their way and maybe saying, well, actually you're running during that scene, so you need to do dialogue this way. But it's now gotten to the point where we've done enough of these and we've worked together enough that we can, there's a shorthand of language where we barely have to say, I'm halfway through a direction and they're like, 10-4, I got it, okay, I know what you're going to say already. And then I back off and let them do it. But it's kind of like being with a family that you choose instead of the family that you're forced to be with. And it's also like casting a party, putting people together who are going to have fun together, who are going to bring something to the party, and who afterwards are going to go, that was fun.
Yeah.
Let's do that some more. But I have to say, I had the same experience that you guys did, which was we didn't know what was really going to ultimately make it in the film, and it's always so shocking when you do see it, you're like, that made it, the cartoon movies being one of them. But also things like the very last line that Waller says, which just goes, oh, that's never going to make it. It made it. It did. It's really effective. She doesn't have to really swear. There's a swear coming, but she doesn't have to say it. I thought that was very interesting.
Awesome.
I want to enhance on something Andrea said. It's so interesting. I brought a friend once to a recording who's not in the business. And he said, she started giving you notes and you stopped her and you made a change and I was still trying to figure out what she was going to say to you. There's such a shorthand when you've worked with the same people for so long that he said, you got what she said, you changed the performance, you went on to the next thing, and I didn't even know what you were talking about. It's so interesting when you work with people.
One of my favorite directions is, Kevin, could you do that better?
Sometimes
It's already excellent.
you love actors so much
I do.
that she will try to couch something. You say, now, could you do this? Could you do that? Could you do that? And I'll go, do you mean act better?
Oh, that's awesome. One of the things that I really like about this movie is that it is a good movie based on a video game, and those are very rare, and I hope it starts a new trend. And Troy, we heard that The Last of Us is going to be turned into a film soon. I want to applaud DC and Warner Brothers really for carrying caring so much about this property, and one of the things that's kind of personal for me, I did the making of Batman Arkham Asylum, so I was with the Rocksteady guys when they were slaving to build us a great Batman video game, and they really did, and this movie honors that, and it's really cool to see, you know, especially for people that work in the games as well, as both of you guys have.
Building those games, my God. That is so hard. Wow. It's such a different experience than doing a show.
You were in that booth a long time.
Oh, you're in there over a year. You're in there for over a year.
No break.
Yeah.
There's your cod, Kevin. Go to sleep. We'll wait.
I know. We'll throw you a fish every now and then.
You get to eat today. Yes, Kevin. You get to eat.
It's one reason.
Jay, what is it about Arkham that works so well, that has been able to transcend now? I mean, there's action figures on the floor, and you know, this is a pretty impressive property.
I think it's just Batman and everybody involved with the property in this movie and with the video games. We all love Batman. And actually, before I finish answering the question, I always want to give a shout out to my crew, my storyboard artists, my designers. They're all there. Casting to a part, it's the same thing with my artists. I choose certain parts for certain artists because some artists are really good at fight choreography. Sometimes the subtlety of the acting. If you notice, Harley is adorable. Like, she sticks her tongue out at Deadshot multiple times. She makes little pouty faces, and that's all that my artists are doing. And I just tell them, this is how I want the scene to feel, and then they're the one who creates the magic. And I try to push them further than what they would normally do, because James pushes me. Because sometimes I will do things, and James will be like, you know, we should see his head blow up. And I'm like, sure, sounds good. You're the boss. You tell me head blows up, we're going to see heads blowing up all the way through the movie. So in terms of making the movie come together, you know, Batman's a great character, and we all love him. And one of the things that I wanted to do, because we have the ensemble cast, was make a serial killer lovable, which is King Shark.
Yeah.
You know, one of the biggest challenges was, Who's King Shark? How do I make him lovable? Because, you know, all the other characters have such great parts, and we just kind of found it. Like when John came into the studio, and I'm watching him do his acting, and honestly, I didn't even know his voice, what voice he had chosen. And I think James and you had kind of come up with something on the spot. And I sat there, and I'm like, this is amazing. And that's when it came to me, and I know exactly how to do King Shark in that kind of lovable sociopath killer.
I love that King Shark is an homage to Richard Kiel as well. Pretty awesome. We should try to get Killer Croc and King Shark together in something. But James, I know that you have something that you want to share with the fans about future DC films.
So you guys don't have to ask me at the urinal. I can tell you what's coming up next year.
And quit asking things in urinals. Don't do that.
Anyway, early in 2015, we have Justice League Throne of Atlantis, which will feature for the first time in animation Aquaman's origin. All the Aquaman fans will be pretty pleased. Next up in the first half of 2015, we have our next Batman movie, which will be entitled Batman vs. Robin. The big draw for this will feature the first appearance in animation of the Court of Owls. I've seen most of it, and it is really killer. It's going to be great. And finally, next year, this time, when you're sitting here in Hall 20, you will be witnessing. He did this as a favor to us.
Oh my God, is this...
He's come out of retirement.
No way, no. Oh my God.
My old boss, Bruce Timm, will be bringing Justice League Gods and Monsters, an original story right here, premiering next year at Comic-Con.
Obviously, we want to get some good questions from each of you, so you might as well will queue up right now, and we actually have some prizes for the best questions, so don't waste your time on praising the panelists. You can praise me, though. We're asking for a kiss. State your name clearly and ask your question, okay? Anytime.
Hey, I'm TJ from Texas, and my question's for Troy. What's it been like taking over the role of the Joker from Mark Hamill?
Good to see a good old Texas boy like myself, first of all. Here's the thing. I think when Bob King created all these characters, I don't think he could ever look in the future and see how much this world would resonate and how much it would really evolve into what it is now. And I don't think anyone, Kevin and I were talking about this, I don't think anybody ever really owns a character. We're merely custodians of it for a while. Has always been and will always be Mark Hamill is my Joker. Kevin Conroy is my Batman. And I'm a kid that used to race home every day so I could watch Batman the animated series, and I remember this is the first time, hell yeah, this is the first time that I put together that these were the actors that did these characters. So it's not lost on me that these are huge shoes to fill, but those shoes could never be filled. Those shoes are full to the brim. You walk in with new shoes, and unfortunately you get to work with people that have been with this franchise long enough that can kind of say, hey, let's show you the ropes, kid. So I will never take anything away from Mark, because that man is the king and he always will be. I'm just trying to do the best of it that I can.
What's that? You do have a bit of a Luke Skywalker thing going right now.
I'm trying to do the Luke Skywalker thing.
Okay, hello, I'm from Mexico, and I want to know what's the difference between doing any other kind of movie or working in something like Batman. And also, Matt, I love your shirt, and we are waiting for a Criminal Minds panel, please.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Your question, sorry, I missed the question more. It was,
the question was, what is the difference between working in any other kind of movie and a Batman movie? What are the standards?
The difference that sort of, especially in this, for whatever reason, I approach voice work almost more physically than like filmed things. So in preparing for the Riddler, I sort of got on this bend of looking at old, you're reading a lot about P.T. Barnum and Houdini and these showmen, and sort of seeing their posture and creating a posture, which then in the room helps translate into a voice. So that's sort of the main difference, is that you get to sort of, I guess, do that? I don't know. I like your hat.
Thank you. Wonder Woman?
Hello, I'm Aubrey Holbert, and I'm from Reno, Nevada, and my question is for Mr. Matthew Gray Google.
I'm from Nevada as well. I love Reno. I'm from Las Vegas. A fellow Nevadan. I guess Nevadan is the traditional way to say that?
Pretty much. All right, so what aspects of the Riddler, the King of Conundrums in Assault on Arkham, were among your favorite to voice act, and which ones were your least favorite?
They were all my favorite. The thing that I love about the Riddler that I was sort of trying to hit upon was this sort of the obsessive compulsion of him, where he in many ways is his own worst enemy, because he feels he's smarter than Batman, he feels he's smarter than all the other supervillains. So he's almost trying to, not necessarily in this movie, but in his broader life, kind of destroy himself. And I feel like these questions are, like, he has to absolutely have them answered, and not merely to showcase it, but to keep himself from going crazy. So any ability to infuse that became my favorite thing, and I tried to put that into every line. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Working with Andrea she's one of the greatest directors I've ever worked with in any medium. And she's so encouraging and wonderful, and it was just an absolute dream come true.
Hi, my name is Dwayne. I wanted to know, this question is for Kevin Conroy.
Thanks.
Hi. I'm a big fan of the Batman the Animated Series. I grew up watching it. Batman, Bruce Wayne is such a cool character. What sort of things do you have to do to get into the character for Batman, and how's it different from Bruce Wayne?
Well, in reference to what Matthew was just saying, actors always find little tricks for getting into the roles for themselves. And for me, a sort of trick into getting into the Batman Bruce Wayne thing was, I early on decided that Bruce Wayne was the performance, not Batman. That Batman is who he really is in his soul. That's what life has done to him. Seeing his parents killed as a child. The way he compensated for his pain in life was going into this very, very dark place. And that was his survival mechanism. And that put me into that voice, put me down into that very dark, husky voice. But then, when he goes out to face the world, like all of us do, we put on a suit, we put on armor to face the world, we put on a persona. The persona for me was Bruce Wayne. And that's the performance. So that was kind of my hook into the character. And it kept it very fresh for me for a long time. And it's always been very helpful to me. I think all actors kind of find a hook into a character that makes it, it's not just about making a sound, making a funny sound, making a sexy sound, making a dark sound. It's about breathing life into the sound. You know what I mean? Any role you play, it's about the life you breathe into the role. And you always have to find something that gets you into that breath. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Vincent Twain?
Victor?
Vincent.
Vincent, okay, thanks. Next.
First off, to Andrea Romano and John DiMaggio, thank you for yesterday's I Know That Voice panel.
Oh, hey, thanks.
I really love this movie. I mean, I just want to know, why do we not have movies like this in theaters?
Yes. Good question. Great question.
My name is Yuri Tommy Day, and I have autism.
Okay, very good. No, I'm not such one man right there. Okay. I remember you from yesterday. I do too. You know, I don't know why they have more of these films in cinemas. Why don't you guys start writing letters?
Yeah. You all go to the theater and watch a movie like this?
Yeah.
You know, the studios do listen to demands from audience.
Yeah.
And the more you demand, the more they will react. So you have a voice.
You have the tools too. Use social media. Go crazy.
Absolutely. You have a voice.
I'm gonna put a hashtag on that. Hashtag on that sucker.
The movie was too good, I didn't want to get up in the middle of it.
He had to poop. He had to poop.
I feel so much closer to all of you now.
Well, thanks for sharing, Troy. Batman?
Hi there. My name is Brandon. I'm from Fullerton. My question is for whoever wants to answer this. I've noticed that in some of your animated movies, certain characters are depicted as being stronger or weaker than they actually are in the comics. Like, take for example, like Justice League or Darkseid's Omega Beams, or the way Deathstroke was depicted in Son of Batman. And so my question is, what makes you decide to make certain characters stronger or weaker? I mean, who decides this and why?
James decides it all, and he just says, what's going to make people the angriest?
I really just want to decide what will piss off people the most. That's what I'll go with. So, you know what? Comic books are different than actual movies where people have to work in physical space. Even in animation, the rules are stricter than they are when you're reading a comic book. Anyone can write in a comic book that Darkseid can lift 3,000 planets, and then someone can draw that. In animation, when something's really moving and it has to be believable, you can't get away with some of the things that comic books can get away with, which is why comic books rock. That's why they're awesome, because anything can happen. So, you know, we do have plans for Darkseid, though, and Deathstroke. We may redeem that little bit of business that you had a question about.
That'd be good.
What's your name, sir?
Hi, I'm Cody from Las Vegas. I know.
Hi, Cody.
And I was curious, since it's Batman's 75th anniversary, what's your favorite or fondest memory of Batman to you guys, if you worked on it or not?
You want one from everybody? I got mine.
Okay.
My favorite, I have so many. I love Master of the Phantasm. But I also love A Chance to Dream, and also Dream Escape. Those are three that I really love.
As a child, I was obsessed with Batman, and on opening day would see every one of the two Tim Burton films that opened with Batman. But the comic that I asked Santa Claus for, I was fortunate enough to get, was the 4-part series Death in the Family, where Robin died.
Yeah. Kevin, just when we first worked on Arkham City together, it was the first time for me to ever meet Kevin, and I walked in and we were kind of getting set up across the mic from each other. And yes, this is my favorite Batman memory. And I fanboyed him a little bit. I was like, hey, I hate to do this to you, man, but yes. It was a long time ago, you probably don't remember it, but there was an episode of the animated series, like I do that thing to him, and he just goes, I said, you probably don't remember it. It was a Mad Hatter episode. He goes, for a chance to dream. I went, yeah. He goes, my favorite episode too. And I was like, cool, man, that's really cool. And inside I went,
My favorite Batman memory. I don't know, getting to play the Joker in Under the Red Hood. Getting a phone call from Andrea like,
John, I need you to come into the studio.
okay, whatever, what do you need?
I need you to play the Joker. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I think that's that and the back dance at a Western.
That's too short.
Well, I'll be self-serving and just say, Batman, Brave and the Bold, The Chill of the Night. Kevin was Batman Stranger, Mark Hamill was the Spectre, Dietrich Bader knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
It was great, it was fun. I had chills recording that with Andrea. Adam West came in and did Thomas Wayne, and Julie Newmar was Martha Wayne. I could have shot myself right then and been happy.
Let's see, I would say 1986 when I read The Dark Knight Returns. I was 11. And then fast forward, I'm sitting next to Bruce Timm with Peter Weller in the sound booth and Andrea directing, and I'm like, I'm directing The Dark Knight Returns. This is the coolest thing ever. That would be probably one of the pivotal moments in my life for Batman, I think. And also meeting Kevin, all these great actors in the past who played Batman has really been a little bit scary. But other than that, like Batman is one of those things where all through my career that I've always enjoyed, doing especially Under the Red Hood. I killed Robin in the beginning, so that's why I love Joker. But that's my one moment.
I have two, and they're on completely opposite ends of the spectrum. One is Dark Knight Returns, and the other is The Music Meister. We joked for how many years? 21 years about making Batman the musical. We always would just joke about that. And we did do an episode of the animated series where we did a musical moment. But The Music Meister, Neil Patrick Harris, and oddly enough, every member of the cast, none of them were cast because they could sing. We cast the series based on what, but everybody in the cast could sing. And so we had a beautiful musical episode out of that.
For me, when the Tim Burton Batman movie came out, I was in grade school,
then I had to see it. So the day it came out, I had my mom drop me off at the theater at 7 a.m. Didn't open until noon, but I packed a cooler of like snacks. I put a whole bunch of comics in my backpack, and I had a folding chair, and I showed up, and I was fourth in line. I was like, three other people who got ahead of me. But I got into the movie and I stayed and watched it twice. They couldn't get me out. They sat in there. And then cut to later in high school when I saw the Batman the Animated Series. And I saw the episode Almost Got Him. And I was like,
Yeah, I love that episode.
I was like, of course it was an all Films episode. And I was like, I need to be a part of this world. So now to be sitting up here with these people is just a dream come true. So this is amazing.
Hi, I'm Jed from Singapore. I'd like to ask, this question is for Jay and for James.
Look
I'd like to ask about the style of the film. I love what John Suzuki did with the characters, but was there any discussion about keeping it CGI and trying to make something different and make a CGI film to make it consistent with the Arkham games? Thank you.
I've worked with Blur Studios who do all of the cinematics that you see for like Arkham Knight and whatnot, and those guys are amazing. But you gotta remember, the CGI budget is like something like $1 million a minute. So an 80-minute film is going to be an $80 million production, and I don't think...
So you take a check.
We'd like to pay that kind of... but that being said, I wish we could do something that's all CGI. That'd be great. We have the assets built, but again, it's a big endeavor. That's something like that would take probably 5 years to make. And we go through like 3 different films a year, and it's just a journey. But right in the studio, I would love to.
Hi, I'm Maya, and standing up here looking at all of you, I'm just geeking out inside, so trying not to let that out. And I wanted to ask, in your lifetime, how many times do you think you've totally geeked out, outside or inside, or you're just almost squealing?
Who are you asking? Everybody?
Everybody.
I just saw Mike Tyson.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Mike Tyson and Macaulay Culkin are the 2 people I would geek out about.
Yeah, so we geek out.
Same thing. I was thinking, Mike Tyson's outside. I think it's as big as Macaulay Culkin.
I actually geeked out in the green room because Stephen Amell came in there right before.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's Arrow. How cool is that?
Multiple times. Innumerable times.
I saw DMC from Run DMC today. That was pretty awesome. I was like, oh, DMC! Yeah, Tyson and DMC the same day. I was like,
Which clearly heralds the coming apocalypse.
yeah.
When did the DNC approve this?
Beware of the Tyson as well. Run for your lives. Here they come. And Mike Tyson has a pigeon.
Apparently, Bob the Dragon did Tyson ride. I think he's asking a question. We're quoting things.
Oh, the heavens scream for ride into time.
Hello, my name is Gilbert, and I want to say you guys all do such great work. But I was actually curious, I was on your personal thoughts on how sexist this movie does come off as. And how do you feel about that? I know it's a popular, sorry, but...
You better run. Yeah, that's right. You walk away into the night.
Is
it sexist?
I don't know. I think when you have 2 women that kick the snot
Absolutely.
at a guy, I don't know how sexist that is.
I think the Arkham hiring practices are sexist. I don't think you see a lot of women
in Arkham. And on the higher side. More women are poison ivy and there's poison ivy.
I think women are too smart to get a job.
I think you're right.
Catwoman.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello. This question is for John DiMaggio and Troy Baker. Both of you guys got to play the Clown Prince of Crime Joker. I was wondering if you both can do a laugh off between your two versions.
Dance,
That's good.
Oh, you bastard. How can you ever top that?
Can I just say what my favorite line that John said in Under the Red was?
Yeah. I'm gonna need some more guys.
Not these guys.
Why, John?
They're all dead.
My brother.
Gentlemen, lady, huge fan. I get all the Blu-rays as soon as they come out. They, I think we're at lunchtime, so I can
You finger.
Nice.
Yeah, I love all your work, and got chilled right now hearing both of those Jokers battle. I got a feel for watching the movie, and after at the very end, kind of slows by after hearing Amanda Waller say, what the U.S. government is going to watch us. I kind of felt kind of a similarity between Edward Snowden and the Riddler, being a lower level employee and all that. And I was wondering if that's intentional, and if so, are you trying to maybe get us to think a little bit about that?
What's your name then?
I'm Joe Albers from San Jose, California.
Sounds good.
I'm calling the NSA.
Yeah. Shouldn't have said your name, dude.
We've got your name.
Look at this weird red dot that keeps moving on your head.
I don't think the Snowden reference was intentional, but in the script I did like the idea that Waller says, we're the U.S. government and you're Batman. You work out in the shadows. We're out here in the light. So what are you going to do? Really, how are you going to go up against us? So it seemed like it was interesting to have a checkmate between those two sides. And actually, Batman, Jay shoots it, that Batman's at a disadvantage because he's in the light. And all of a sudden it seems like, oh, wait a minute. Like this whole great thing happened in the middle of the night, and then when the sun comes up, Waller's sort of feeling her oats. So it's kind of interesting.
It's kind of gross, too.
Yeah.
I don't want Waller feeling her oats. Do we have time?
Right.
I went there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I love that our last question is going to be asked by this next person.
Yeah, last question. Here we go. Former Batman.
This question's for Matthew. Did your work on Criminal Minds help you to prepare to play the Riddler?
You know, oddly, the character I play in Criminal Minds, they're both sort of, I guess, different sides of the same odd coin. One of them wants nothing more than to save people and make life better, and the other one wants to destroy everyone. So they're very different. They're both very bright. The Riddler knows he's bright. My other character would never consider himself smart, even though he is. So it helped in being the exact opposite. But that's a great question, and a wonderful costume.
Yeah, fantastic questions, and thank everybody very much for coming.
We got one more.
Sorry, buddy.
Sorry.
He tried to jump.
The
answer is 1942.
Now, I understand we're going to run the film again if people want to watch the movie, but can I have TJ, Vincent, Cody, and Jen come along to the side over here? Great questions from everybody, and thank you all for coming. And remember,
Hey, we're the Guardians of the Galaxy, and we're here to... We're too late, aren't we? Sorry, Star-Lord, but our movie comes out this week, and Hasbro only made 3 out of the 5 of us. You gotta be kidding me! After all these years, that's like making Rocket Raccoon a Build-A-Figure. We need to talk.